Kia ora, everybody. It is Sunday, the 10th of July 2022. It is 8 a.m. here in New Zealand's /Middle Earth, and this is the New Zealand Travel Show.
Yeah, so this is Robin and I'm Laura, and we're the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide because it literally has thousands and thousands of articles to help you plan the perfect trip to New Zealand. Now that you can start planning that trip.
Finally!
We are on our final month in New Zealand of the borders being closed to quite a lot of people. So by the end of July, the borders will be fully reopened to all visas, all visitor types, everybody that, can legally come to New Zealand as it was before, prior to COVID. So yeah, now is the perfect time to start planning a trip to New Zealand. But if you're not really into reading, which is kind of what NZ Pocket Guide is all about, it is, it's got thousands and thousands of articles there. You can join us on our live show every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time right now. And put your New Zealand travel questions into the live chat and we go through every single comment. But if you do miss the live show, you can always put your questions in the comments section of any of our YouTube videos and we'll answer them for you. So welcome guys and ask your questions.
All right, so we're starting with Adeli, that says, very well, I will once again thank you. Well, that's lovely. Thank you for thanking us early morning. Adil Mula says, Kia ora, Robin and Laura, and Nathan says, Kia ora, everyone. It's really quiet this morning. I don't know what is happening. Can you guys hear us and see us well? It is incredibly quiet already, but we do have a question of the day, so let's start with that while everybody wakes up. Woo. Question of the day, yeah. Question of the day, woo. Question of the day.
That is how Robin likes to wake up
exactly.
On a Sunday morning.
Every morning I just wake up and I start singing that. So today I wanted to ask you a little bit about the ever-increasing price of gas. It has started to take a big toll on the finances of a lot of families, on a lot of people around the planet, thanks to, the state of the world nowadays. And so I want to know if that will change your travel plans to New Zealand. We actually have already received some emails, some people saying they're going to try to drive less, what can they cut around because that start costing a lot of money. Will that affect the way you're flying? Let us know. I would like to know if your travel plans are going to change for New Zealand due to the price of gas, and we'll compile all your answers at the end of the video, and we'll go over that around the 45-minute mark. That's usually what we do. So when you vote, if you say yes, if that will actually impact your trip, I would love for you to actually explain how this will impact your trip in the live chat. That would be absolutely fascinating. And we have Ash that just joined us.
Yes, Ash S says, Kia ora, Robin and Laura.
How are you doing, Ash? All right.
And I think also toward the, I was just going to say, I think towards the end of the live show, we can also give you guys a few tips of how to travel around New Zealand without driving a car as well. Some tips for if you are wanting to save a bit of money on gas, we can help you with a few tips of alternatives.
Indeed. Adil says the video and audio is 100% clear. Perfect.
Thank you.
Sometimes when we have very small amount of viewer, that means that people are going in and out because it's just broken and everything, but it just looks like today is going to be a quiet day. So right now we only have 4 of you watching. So if you are watching right now, you're a quarter of our current audience. How good is that?
Exclusive.
I think that's pretty good. And so feel free to ask us all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. In the meantime, we have done something a little bit different that has nothing to do with New Zealand this week. What have we done, Laura?
All right, so are we talking about the launch?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so this week we have very exciting news. Over the past few months, we have been working on a brand new pocket guide for a brand new destination. So as you all know, here on this channel, we have NZ Pocket Guide. Well, now we have created a travel guide for the Cook Islands.
Boom.
CookIslandsPocketGuide.com. So toward the beginning of the year, we did a really intensive research trip to the Cook Islands, which was absolutely amazing. One of the sort of earlier countries in this sort of side of the world where you can where the borders are open. And so, yeah, we had an amazing trip over there and got to experience the beautiful tropical islands of the Cook Islands, which are also very, very easy to access from New Zealand. So if you are traveling to New Zealand and you want to have a bit of an extended trip where you can, experience some of the South Pacific, Polynesian, tropical side of this side of the world, then it's a really easy sort of add-on to your trip. So yeah, if you're interested in checking out more about the Cook Islands, then cookislandspocketguide.com is going to be your ultimate Bible. Even if we say so ourselves, we're pretty proud of what we've done there, and yeah, we are pretty excited. So go and have a look at that. And we are going to be having some videos coming up on the channel through the next few weeks. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
We'll keep on talking about the Cook
Sure.
Islands throughout the live session. Right now, we're gonna talk to Kiwi Lauren. What is she saying?
Kiwi Lauren says, "Hi, my Kiwi internet friends. Starting to save for my NZ trip again."
Ooh, are you happening to have to save more now that there is super high gas prices or not? That's the question of the day, Kiwi Lauren. Answer.
And then she continues to say, "How are you guys doing today? Staying warm? It's gorgeous here and I'm loving summer. It's short-lived here, so I drink it all in while it lasts. Then it's 6 months of snow."
So for those that don't know, Kiwi Lauren is in Canada. She is in Saskatchewan, Canada. So it gets really cold. Like sometimes she sends us photos of her face after a morning run and it's just like full of snow, and I don't know how she does this thing. Yeah, no, we're staying warm. It is actually quite a mild winter. It has been obviously a little bit colder than usual, but the good thing is that it's been raining a lot, and when it rains you get clouds, and when you get clouds it doesn't get as cold. Like, it's when you don't have any cloud cover, this is when it starts getting really, really, really cold. But honestly, it has been very, very, very mild this summer so far.
Winter,
this winter, but very, very, very wet. So here you go.
Lots of rain to keep this beautiful country nice and green.
Nathan Bates says, "What are some of the things to do if your flight is delayed? Because my flight may be delayed with wet weather and everyone else traveling."
So is it a delay in New Zealand, or is
I think it's going down to the South Island, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, yeah, so cool. What to do when your flight is delayed?
Do you have a couple of board game packs to travel with? There are some really small and cheap board games that you can play. We actually do have a whole video on like what to do during a long haul flight, and I think all of those will like kind of apply, to be quite honest. But yeah, if I can, I know you're traveling with your family. If I can suggest a board game called Love Letters, it is very, very cheap, and it's very small. There's only about between 16 and 25 cards depending on which version you're getting, and you'll be able to entertain yourself for kind of hours with that, which is kind of good. It's really a lot of fun. What else can you be doing?
Well, I just wanted to just add on to the end of that Robin has done a couple of really awesome videos here on YouTube of best travel games. So definitely take a look at those. Videos. Although we are experts in New Zealand, our kind of like, side sort of passion is board games as well. So we kind of do know a thing or two about really good board games. So if you do want to take a look at that video, Robin ranking some of the best travel board games, then take a look at that. And that's definitely a good thing to do when you are waiting for your flight. Other things you can do, well, I know it depends what sort of what airport you're in, but usually there's something like there'll be a cafe, there'll be shops to look at, that sort of thing. So there's always like take a look around the airport's always kind of a fun thing to do. If you're really into traveling, you like exploring in nature, then take a look around the airport.
Nathan, you're going to be in New Zealand. Do a video for us. Do a little video showing us a little bit or telling us about your plan and everything. Like send us a video message.
Yeah.
That works too.
Absolutely. You can, connect to the airport Wi-Fi. Airports are one of the sort of, limited places where there's free Wi-Fi that is pretty good in New Zealand. So yeah, you can always connect to the airport Wi-Fi and, catch up on all those like messages that you've been sort of ignoring your friends, and you need to start like replying to all those messages.
But yeah, aside from that, when your flight is delayed, basically you just get to arm yourself with patience. But they
Relax.
airports are actually kind of entertaining kind of area. I watch planes quite often.
I love watching the tarmac of airports. If you're at a small airport in New Zealand, Nathan, I know you're from Taupo. If you're at the Taupo airport, it's just make sure you get a window seat in their little arrivals area or departures area, and just
and you may be able to watch those 2 flights a day.
Yeah, watch the goings on of the tarmac is always entertaining. I always like that.
And if you're actually flying from the Taupo area, that's also very close to where they operate the skydive. So you may want to go for a skydive. You know, that only takes about 45 minutes altogether. So if you want to go for a skydive, go nuts.
Yeah.
All right. So Ash is saying, is credit card surcharge of 2% common in most establishments in New Zealand? You recommend carrying cash. The current agencies that we ask all charge 2%.
Yeah, I would say if you've got an obviously for most people...
Overseas, yeah.
If you've got an overseas bank card, whether it's debit, credit, or a travel money card, etc., there is, at most establishments, there's going to be that small percentage, 2%, of your transaction, will be a small transaction fee. So I definitely recommend getting, just withdrawing a bunch of cash for maybe 3 or 4 days of your trip, going to an ATM, withdrawing that cash. There will be an ATM fee, but at least it's only a one-off ATM fee. And then the other charge that you'll have is just from your bank at home doing the the currency conversion fee. So that will just be applied by your bank. That's obviously different for every bank around the world. But yeah, there'll just be that one-off ATM fee when you're withdrawing your cash, and that works out a lot cheaper than having to pay that small transaction fee for every single purchase you do on your overseas bank card. So we definitely recommend carrying some cash, but obviously for security reasons, don't walk around with 2
20K.
weeks worth of cash, for your whole trip in New Zealand. It's better to just get some, like I say, maybe for 3 or 4 days at a time.
Rafa Cat says, good morning guys from sunny and hot Leeds, UK.
Ooh.
Hope you are doing well. We are doing awesome. Today is a fantastic day for us, so we're really happy. We launched the Cook Island site. You guys already saw on the channel. We have a video of us doing the packing, and this week we have our favorite things to do in Aitutaki video coming up.
Yeah.
Lawrence Lesha, which is one of our latest Patreon supporter, she said hello Laura and Robin and chat folks. I love that she always remembers to say hi to the chat folks. Say hope everyone's enjoying their weekend. We are definitely enjoying our weekend. I need a nap already and it's 8 a.m. so here you go.
Helen says, hi Laura and Robin from England. It's lovely and sunny here. Been hot today. It's going to be 25 degrees here tomorrow and 29 degrees on Monday. Wow, that is pretty nice. While you guys are having your height of summer in the UK, we are having our depths of winter.
But to be fair, it is 8 a.m. right now in New Zealand, and we're in central North Island, where it's supposed to be one of the coldest places.
Yeah,
and,
I actually
and
feel
it's 11 degrees today, so it's really not
right
that bad.
now.
Yeah, it's really not that bad.
Yeah, the only thing at this time of year is that the rain is on and off, on and off, on and off.
Yeah, we have been needing to do some work, outside work, and it just keeps on raining every 2 seconds.
And when it rains in New Zealand, it's usually a really heavy shower, and then you sort of wait until the clouds shift a bit. You might get a bit of sun, and you're go go go, but then all of a sudden it'll be back again. So that's kind of what we're experiencing, especially this week.
Yeah,
I think this sort of mid July, right in the middle of winter, is when you get the most erratic weather in New Zealand.
For sure.
Cool.
Kiwi Loren says, I did my first and only to date skydive in Taupo. So here you go, Nathan. Maybe skydive is a good idea for you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So do remember that we have the question of the day. Now there is more people. Let's go over it again. Question of the day. Well. Question of the day. Whoa. Question of the day. I really need to stop singing every time. Anyway, so is the ever-increasing price of gas going to affect your travel plans in New Zealand? Will it affect your road trip plans? Will you try to drive less? Will that affect your flights to New Zealand? How will it affect your flight to New Zealand? So I want to know. So if you guys end up voting yes, please tell us in the comments how that will affect your trip to New Zealand. Maybe you're just going to have to delay your flight a few more weeks. Your trip to New Zealand a few more weeks because you need more weeks to save. We'd love to know if that is a big factor for your trip to New Zealand. But in the meantime, let's go back to the live chat.
We have Isaac saying, hello, I'm doing a working holiday to New Zealand. How much money should I have saved up before my trip?
So as part of your working holiday visa, you should have a list of requirements, and as a part of this requirement, the New Zealand government will give you a certain amount of money that you need to save. Usually, it's about New Zealand dollars, 4,200 New Zealand dollars. That's usually what it is. However, that is absolutely not enough, and even with the ever-increasing cost of life here in New Zealand, and gas, as I was just talking about, so pre-COVID, we were recommending a minimum of 5,500 New Zealand dollars as the absolute bare minimum, and genuinely at the moment I will say closer to 7,000 New Zealand dollars would be the right amount of money to have. That's very, very important that you have enough money to be able to start a little bit of your life in New Zealand, as well as travel around and everything. You won't be able to arrive in New Zealand and start working within the first week. You do have a lot of paperwork to do. You have to get an IRD number, you have to apply for a bank account, you have to look for a job, you have to find you have a lot of things to do, so it's highly likely that it's going to take you about a month at least until you get yourself started with work. And it's highly recommended that you travel a little bit around New Zealand as well, not finding job in New Zealand in Auckland because it's really expensive, and because it doesn't really represent New Zealand, and if you're in New Zealand, may as well just travel around and enjoy yourself. So I really, 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 really recommend that you do have enough money saved. So as I said, for 5,500 New Zealand dollars was the thing that we were recommending pre-COVID. I still need to do a little bit of math and hear from the experience of people on working holiday in New Zealand to be able to kind of redo the math and know how much you should need. But at the moment, we are thinking that it's going to be closer to 7,000 New Zealand dollars. You're about to embark to the adventure of your lifetime. You will need that kind of amount of money. But just to give you an idea, for example, at the moment, rent for a week, even if, like, let's say you were planning to just little land, go in Auckland, start working, but what rent for a week in Auckland is around $450 a week when you move into in Auckland in an apartment, and you need to pay a bond, which is the money that you need to give which is a bond, which is the money that you need to give to your landlord in order for them to have a bit of safety, so you don't trash the place. For instance, you already need to give them at least 3 weeks, and sometimes it's 5 weeks bond, and so that would be between 2,500 and 1,500 New Zealand dollars already just to give to a person. So you do need some money for sure.
Absolutely.
So yeah, what is Ash saying?
Ash is saying, thank you for answering.
Always tell me, by the way, guys, to slow down when I talk like Laura did. Sometimes I just go in my train of thought and I'm just blah, 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 and you guys have to tell me just to slow down. Yeah, apologies for that.
If there's anything that you didn't get from what Robin was just saying there, just let us know in the comments. So
by the way, Isaac, if you go
on...
Actually, let's just add something to Isaac right here. Just really quickly. Isaac, if you go on nzpocketguide.com, it's entirely free to go there. You go on work in New Zealand, then you go here for work tips and essential. Right here, there is a ton of tips for you to plan the perfect working holiday trip to New Zealand. So you might want to check that out. There's also budget tips and all these kind of things.
All right, so we have Ash saying, thank you for answering. I have a travel credit card that doesn't charge international exchange fees, but I'll carry some cash like you suggest.
Ash, there is a lot of cards that do that. However, do know that the exchange rate are usually less good than most other cards, so you basically end up usually paying the same. So be aware of that. Usually those international credit card are kind of it's a bit of a scam, basically. In all honesty, from what we've tried, and it doesn't really save you any money. They give you different fees for exchanging, so you end up paying the same than if you had a one-off fee every time. So just so you're aware.
All right, we have Samuel T saying, hey guys from Newquay in Cornwall here. I do love Newquay, it's a really cool place.
Can't pronounce it though.
No, I can't pronounce it. I do like the Cornish pasties. I know you have likely made a video on this, but should I be getting a bank and IRD number sorted before coming over? How prepared should I be? Thanks.
All right, so you cannot apply for an IRD number when you're outside of New Zealand, so you won't be able to do that. So the order is you need your bank account number, because you do need a bank account number. No, the other way around.
You need No, you need a bank account first, then
Yeah,
IRD.
that's true. Yeah, I was correct. Sorry, I second guessed myself. It's been so long we haven't answered questions about working holiday visa, guys. I just kind of lost my rhythm right here. I love it. This is good. Yes. So you do need to apply for your bank account first. Then you need to apply for your IRD number, and as a working holiday maker, which I'm guessing is what you're doing, you will have to be in New Zealand in order to do that. So you cannot do that prior to your trip. You will have to submit all your applications when you arrive in New Zealand, book your appointment at the bank, open this, then do the paperwork. So you can't. It's not something you can do ahead. However, you can plan ahead in order to know what you're going to need to do and have all the paperwork ready. And again, for that, you just head to nzpocketguide.com, just right here, and then you can click on Work in New Zealand and then Work Tips and Essential. And in here, we cover everything about both bank account and IRD number. But yeah, check out these whole sections of the site right here. There's really a lot of information for you. We've basically written everything. It's an encyclopedia of doing a gap year in New Zealand. Both Laura and I actually started our trip to New Zealand like that, and I've been here for 12 years now. So yeah, definitely go nuts and go on the site. It's all free anyway.
It's a good idea to have your first week in New Zealand sort of plan to do all those things, like getting your bank account sorted and your IRD number sorted in your first week in New Zealand. And we do have an article on nzpocketguide.com, which is what to do in your first week on a working holiday in New Zealand. And it gives you sort of,
step by step,
step
do
by
day
step,
1, day 2, day 3.
Setting up your phone, getting a New Zealand phone number, blah, blah, blah. All those little things that you might need to get sorted if you are planning on staying in New Zealand for about a year or just a more extended trip. All right.
I'm actually going to put that link for everybody in the live chat right now. So in the live chat right now, there's a link to the first week of a working holiday visa in New Zealand, what we recommend you doing and in which order. So that should definitely help Isaac and Samuel as well.
All right, we have Kiwi Lauren saying, "Never stop singing, Robin. This
right.
music teacher approves."
That's right.
Well,
I should always be
high
singing.
praises coming from Kiwi Lauren.
That's right.
Isaac says, "Thanks. You're very welcome."
David Burrow, another one of our amazing Patreon, says, because of the rising prices, I made a point of redeeming my Air New Zealand credit as soon as I could, even though it won't be until 2023 when I travel. I was pleased to get a promotional rate. That's really good. That's a good way to kind of go about that. So I love that. So again, David is commenting about the poll that we're having right now. Is the current super high price of gas, changing your travel plans to New Zealand? And if you're answering yes, if you can tell us in the live chat, that would be really good. That's really good one, David. All right, cool. Let's quickly chat about Patreon, guys. So we are on Patreon. If you feel like supporting all our good work, we are doing all those videos for free. We have all the website for free, and now we even have a new one for the Cook Islands. And if you want to score yourself some amazing perks, such as access to a secret Facebook group where we hang out every single day, it's really a lot of fun. You get an extra live session like this one, an extra hour after that, and you get many other perks, including our help, hands-on help to help you plan your trip to New Zealand. Should you be doing working holiday or should you be doing just a holiday in New Zealand? You may want to join us on Patreon. It starts at only $5 a month. You only charge on the first of the month. There is no commitment whatsoever. So even if you were to join us right now, you will be getting literally the first 20, like it's the 10th right now. You get the first 20 days for free, so why not? I just want to say good welcome to Talauita and Lawrence that joined us last week. We're glad to have you guys on board. So yeah, many perks on Patreon. There's a link in the description of the video. What about you? Check it out. It's pretty awesome. And again, it starts only like $5 a month, so that's dead cheap. All right, let's move back to the live chat. What is up with Ash?
Ash says, can international travellers visit hospitals in New Zealand without travel health insurance in case of illness/injuries? Are hospitals expensive like in America?
Hospitals are much less expensive than they are in America. And yes, you can visit the hospital without travel insurance. You just have to pay the bills at the end. There is ACC that will cover some of the accidents that may happen in New Zealand.
Okay, we have Kiwi Lauren saying, that's crazy. My rent was like $150 a week in 2007 for a room in my friend's house. I'm reminded that I'm getting old and the world is getting more expensive. Still so worth it to be in New Zealand.
So the price that I was stating when I talked about working holiday visa will be for like a small studio for one person. Obviously, getting a room in a house with other people is still a little bit. It wouldn't be $150 in Auckland.
No,
it's just
no.
not. It's not going to be that price, but it's still like cheaper than $450.
$150 per week would be probably the cheapest weekly rent you'd find in New Zealand nowadays.
But like
for a
that would
house
be
share.
that would be like somewhere which is definitely not a popular spot.
Yeah,
It would be
yeah.
like,
Nowadays, it's more like going up to maybe 170 to 250 New Zealand dollars.
It's higher than
week.
that. It has to be higher than that.
I don't know. Maybe I did a little bit of research, like
Well,
maybe a couple of months
if
ago.
a studio, which is like a studio, or even
I'm talking
like
about
no, I get
house
that.
share, yeah?
I get that, but
Yeah.
like, let's say you have like just 2 rooms in there, right? And the rent is 450. It has to be 225 at least for a smaller one.
170 for like a house share with maybe about 10 people.
Okay, well,
which
if you
do
live in hell,
exist.
if you live in hell,
Yeah,
no, that's
exactly. I'm not.
happening,
And that's for me. When I first arrived in New Zealand, I lived in a house with about 16 people in Queenstown because the prices, the rent prices in Queenstown, it's like Queenstown and Auckland is kind of known for having more extortionate prices than around the rest of the country. So there are those hidden places where you can find it for cheaper, but you will be sharing. It's not like a super homely, comfortable situation. It's more like you're living in a hostel.
Oh, garage.
Yeah.
Okay, Kiwi Lawrence is granted was cheap even at the time. Okay, what is Todd saying? Whoa, just went to your website and clicked on the individual towns. Amazing. Lots of work. Much appreciated. You're very welcome, Todd. That's literally what we do. So we are going to like absolutely everywhere. We always check everything. It's all a hands-on account on the website. So thank you very much for the praises, Todd.
Yeah, thanks
Put a
for the
lot of
comment.
work and effort into that. It's it's our day job, so it takes a lot. And Laura is a journalist, so she knows how to approach a subject and actually get a good handle around that. It's definitely not a blog. All right, what is Kiwi Lauren saying?
Kiwi Lauren says, I'm in the cast of our summer musical right now, Rock of Ages, full of 80s rock.
I saw Rock of Ages in Toronto, actually, in your home country.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
2023 will be my New Zealand trip unless we do Chicago, one of my favorite musicals ever. My trip will happen eventually. Maybe once you've retired from musicals, if that ever happens, then you can start putting New Zealand back in your life again.
Yeah.
Robert Laliberte said, did you ever consider opening a side business for setting up accounts and taking on bureaucracy so people coming to New Zealand can hit the ground running?
I used to have one actually doing that for people on the working holiday visa, but nah. I did that for quite a while.
I
actually.
mean, we have done exactly just that, Robert. But that was quite a few years ago, and the travel climate has changed somewhat since then. So it's kind of a thing that we decided. Actually, we wanted to put our heart and soul into NZ Pocket Guide and sort of. Although we like to try and do everything, we realize that even updating nzpocketguide.com, maintaining this YouTube channel for you guys is still quite a lot of work. So unfortunately, we can't provide that extra service that we used to do anymore.
But that's the thing as well. I'm drawing through that, like from that experience and everything for all the bank account and everything. So, we have in our Patreon group right now, we do have Jaro and we have Fabio, which are kind of moving to New Zealand, and I'll be able to help them a ton with all those kind of things. Because, for our Patreon, we provide like a lot of support and everything. So we'll be able to do all these kind of things. But like as per like running that as a business again, it's not really something that we just do have time to do anymore.
Yeah. If anybody wanted to have that sort of extra like expertise from us and go through that quite intensively, like the service we used to provide, then usually Patreon would be like the better place to come and seek that sort of service that we can do for them.
Angelina says, hi, and sorry if I'm asking the same thing, but I've just gone here. I'm getting to New Zealand in September and I have 2,300 New Zealand dollar. Oh, how poor will I be? I mean, sharing home and stuff. I live in Hamilton. Okay, so if you're going to be sharing home in Hamilton, Laura, just talk about all the prices of life. I'm just literally going to go on the price for rents because I think that we say something wrong. I think it's just, there's absolutely no way it was that cheap. So, I'm just going to double check the fact because I think It's absolutely not $125 or whatever that we.
I said 175, starting at the cheapest if you're doing a big house share.
I think that we said something wrong.
Okay,
so that's
yeah.
what I'm checking.
Always double check. All right, so yeah, for the price of life in New Zealand, obviously New Zealand is considered a bit more expensive than, for instance, a little bit more expensive than Australia. If you're comparing for price of life compared to the US, then New Zealand is considered quite a bit more expensive than the US, quite a bit more expensive than Europe. So do bear that in mind when you're thinking about like general living costs like food, maybe transport, like public transport, that sort of thing, which if you are on 2,300 New Zealand dollars, you're probably going to want to stick to just public transport, not getting your own car, that sort of thing. Then you will be very tightly on a budget in New Zealand with that amount of money. Do you want to talk about
so just talking about rent quickly. So I just had a quick look, and yes, there are some prices which are around $175 and everything. This does not include any of the power and all the extra bills that you do have to share, and I wouldn't live there. I'm just going to be honest with you. It'd be about 220, but if you include all the fees and everything, but between $220 and $250 per week. So, for example, if you literally only have rent and you have no other expenses whatsoever, you are literally out in the streets in 10 weeks. So just even making your way to Hamilton, you will take a bus, I guess.
You would have to head straight. If you were going, coming into New Zealand, you'd land in Auckland, come straight to Hamilton on the bus. Like, you would not be able to divert too much from settling in Hamilton, getting your life started.
You can't do it. Like, I just want to make it really clear: $2,300 to settle yourself.
Very tight.
It's not doable. I think we shouldn't lie to people. It's not doable. It's absolutely not doable to do it in that way. You're going to arrive in New Zealand just landing in Auckland Airport already, and you're going to need to make your way down to Hamilton. That's going to cost you about $40. So you're around already $2,250. If you want to move somewhere to actually have an apartment or something like that, you will need to pay a minimum of 3 weeks bond anyway. So that's going to be about $750 that you literally have to pay. Then you have to pay your first week of rent, so you already are, let's say you are $1,000, so you're down to $1,250. No matter what, you do have to find a way to be able to to live in New Zealand before you get your ID, before you get your job, before you get all those kind of things. At a minimum, is going to be 2 weeks, if not longer. That is absolutely not enough money. There is no way you'll be able to actually arrive in New Zealand and make do with 2,300 New Zealand dollars. Just to give you an idea, even at minimum wage in New Zealand, for the if you were to earn the minimum wage in New Zealand, you'll only be able to make what is the one per month? They usually give it to you per week right here. You will need to get yourself $848. That's the minimum wage, and that's not counting the cost of living. In a lot of countries you have minimum wage and then the cost of living. So I know a lot of people are thinking per month usually. So that would be 848 times 4. I just want to make it really clear. So the minimum you can be doing is $3,392. That's minimum wage in New Zealand, and that is not enough to be able to live. It's not a livable wage. It's a minimum wage. So just want to be making it super clear there is not enough money. You cannot come in New Zealand and settle with $2,300. I know it's not a nice thing to say, but I just don't want you to come to New Zealand and be completely stranded and need help and all that. It's just there is very little amount of help in there. So, all right, so Kiwi Lauren. Yep.
I was just going to say, she goes on to say that that's my scholarship per month. Would you recommend that she also gets a job on top of her scholarship?
Because you still need, on top of it, you're gathering student debt right here, I'm guessing. But just have a look at what's included in your scholarship. Is accommodation included? If accommodation is included in there, then you could be okay. But again, just remember, it's minimum wage. Think the same thing in your country. I'm not sure where you're from, but usually minimum wage is not a livable wage, right? So your scholarship, you're getting $2,300 a month. So you're basically getting half of what minimum wage is in New Zealand. Cost of life is quite high. If you want to buy a block of butter right now, it's $6.50. Just to give you an idea, right?
Yeah.
So it's quite high.
If you want to take a look on nzpocketguide.com NZPocketGuide.com, we do have articles which lists typical prices in New Zealand. For instance, we have an article which is it's titled "New Zealand Travel Budget. What is the cost for a trip in New Zealand?" That gives you some of the sort of common costs in New Zealand that you may be able to understand more what the cost of life is. We also do.
I hate giving bad news to people.
Yeah, we want to be able to say it's super easy. You don't have to spend that much money. But we also have an article on NZPocketGuide.com, which is what is the cost of a working holiday in New Zealand. So I obviously, it sounds like you're coming as a student, but this would still apply to you as well, as you'll be able to see, some of the prices for, more regular transport, some things like maybe your phone, just some expenses that would be more appropriate for a long-term trip rather than just a short holiday in New Zealand. So check out our website, look in the budget sections of our travel tips section, and you'll get more of an idea of some typical costs there.
Ash says, I just look up ACC and even visitor in New Zealand are covered. That's amazing. Yeah, it is really good, but it's just for accidents and so just be aware there's still some fees and everything.
Still
it's not like all free and everything.
Still better to look after yourself.
Don't
don't do anything crazy just because you're like, oh yeah, I'm covered.
And you get obviously long queues and everything like that. Just be aware of that.
If you want to see a video of us actually using the ACC system, using the hospitals in New Zealand,
you can see me break my arm. There is a video where literally I break my arm and we take you along with me in the hospital. That's during New Zealand's biggest gap year. And we were doing a hike and literally on video we caught me breaking my arm, and then we were like, well, may as well keep filming. And then I went all the way to the hospital and did all that for a year. It's a lot of fun. It's informative. I realized we skipped Kiwi Lauren.
Yeah. Okay. So Kiwi Lauren says, nope, I'm a musical theatre lifer, but I miss New Zealand so much. Starting to save up for the trip again. I had about $10,000 ready to go. Then COVID hit, so I threw it into investments. I hope those investments give you a good return, Kiwi Lauren, so you can plan an even better trip. She also says,
as long as it's not cryptocurrency. I bought like $10,000 worth of NFTs and cryptocurrency, guys. I'm sorted for life.
Yeah, hopefully it was a wise investments. Kiwi Lord also says, but now that I'm starting to save again, it is like it's starting to feel more real. I haven't been on a plane since December 2019. I'm missing travel like crazy. I
can feel you. So Angelina says, yes, as a student, PhD student, thank you, Yuga. I've been following you. You're very welcome. And again, I'm sorry about just going through all the stuff quite fast, but I just know that sometimes when people don't hear what they want, they kind of tune out. So I'm trying to just make sure I give you all the information you need to have before you just tune out and be like, oh, I don't like this, and so I'm going to get it somewhere else. I do not want to, you not getting the correct information. Ipagan Guam says, Afa I die. That must mean hi, I hope. And says, coming to New Zealand in September. So glad I found this show. Plenty of questions to come. Go nuts. That's literally what it is. Just if your question sits next to Lola, usually it gets answered. That's how it works. And if you can't pick our brain within this 1 hour, you can join us on Patreon. You get 2 of them, or even better, you can go to NZPocketGuide.com. There is a link pretty much everywhere in the live chat, in whatever, how is it called, the description and everything. And on the side there is more than 2,000 articles to cover everything to do with New Zealand.
Robert Laliberte has an interesting question, which I'm not sure we have all the statistics on, but he says, with New Zealand being so expensive, any chance that could be a form of birth control? Curious what the statistics are concerning the average size of families in New Zealand.
I think in New Zealand we're having the same kind of statistic that there is in most places in the world. Higher income families tend to more have single child kind of family structures, and then poorer income families will have much more plentiful families. That's usually what it is, the trend in many countries, and that's a trend that kind of just even as a person living in New Zealand, usually you kind of witness as well. Now, would it be a form of birth control? I don't know if people actually really put that much thought sometimes when they're having kids. I know it may be controversial to say, but sometimes you don't realize, man, a kid is at least 18 to 20 years worth of how much it costs or anything like that. But yeah, it's not really something that we are very much into. It's not the realm.
We don't have our realm of expertise.
Yeah, we have a few friends with families and everything, but it's not. Yeah, that's not the kind of thing that we dabble with at all. yeah, we definitely more like, hey, hang on to what life is like right now, and
Yeah.
that is it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So getting back to the Cook Islands. So again, we just launched Cook Islands pocketsguide.com this week, which is really exciting. So there is some more videos coming up on the channel, and so the video that's coming up this week is the best thing to do in Aitutaki. So the Cook Island is actually composed of 15 different island groups, and the main one, the most popular one, the most well-known one, is called Rarotonga, and the second one is the island group of Aitutaki. It's a beautiful lagoon, and so we will cover the best things to do over there in Aitutaki, which is going to be quite interesting if you are planning a trip to the Cook Islands. The Cook Islands is very close to New Zealand. It's only about 3.5 hour flight from the country, and it's a great South Pacific destination, which is really safe and very convenient to plan a trip to when you're traveling to New Zealand, because it uses the same currency. So basically everything you have done to get your trip to New Zealand sorted, you basically do the same thing, but you do it in the tropics in the Cook Islands. So it may be something that you may be very interested in adding to your trip to New Zealand for very tropical kind of destinations. So Laura, what are some of your favorite things to do in Rarotonga, which are very different than what you can find in New Zealand?
Yeah, well, I think one of the standout experiences for me is swimming with turtles, which
That's pretty damn good.
You can do in Rarotonga. There are many companies to do this with, and they take you to a place which is really prime turtle habitat, because turtles, as you may know, they're quite vulnerable species.
She's talking about sea turtles, by the way.
Sea turtles, yeah. So they're quite a vulnerable species that is quite rare to just, happen to see in many occasions. But in Rarotonga, they take you to an amazing place where you are almost guaranteed seeing a turtle every time, and there are probably about 10 at the least as you are snorkeling with them. So that
you heard it first, guaranteed turtles, Laura.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it is pretty much guaranteed in that habitat that they take you to. So yeah, turtle swimming in Rarotonga is definitely an amazing sort of standout experience.
I will say something similar as an activity. So you get obviously snorkeling around beautiful coral and everything is really fantastic. But there is also a lot of eagle rays in Rarotonga as well, where you can actually do that. So snorkeling is really something really awesome to do. Getting back to a live chat before we continue with things that we like to do in the Cook Islands, Angelina says, that's all right, guys. Better be direct and to the point. Yeah, no, I agree. And she says, I wonder how university don't calculate how much we spend side. But it's because they're businesses. They're not, they are for-profit businesses, so they're here to, give you a cheap service and this, and then make some money that you will pay for a lot of time. It's, it's not their business necessarily. Is not to give you everything they can.
Yeah.
To you, it's a business. So yeah. All right, other awesome things to do in Rarotonga. So a lot of people don't know, but Rarotonga actually itself is like a really big island with a lot of, not volcanic peak, but mountain peaks. So there actually are some fantastic hikes in Rarotonga, and the island itself is quite small. So you can drive all around Rarotonga at the local speed limit, which is very slow, 40k, is that correct? No, 30K?
It's about 40k most places, but 50 at the highest.
Yeah. and so you can actually do a cross the island trek, and you can do that literally just within a day, which is quite awesome. You just start at the beach, you go all the way through Mountain Peak, and you finish at another beach, and it's really awesome. So cross mountain trek is a cool thing to do in Rarotonga. What else do you like to do in Rarotonga?
Well, most of the activities are pretty much on the water. So in terms of they have the whole island is encircled by a lagoon, by a reef, so that makes in a lagoon around the whole island, which is safe, sheltered areas for swimming, kayaking, snorkeling from shore. So it's one of those places where you don't have to, you don't always have to, pay to go on a cruise or pay to go on a snorkeling tour. Although all that is available, it's just like a place where snorkeling in the water is just super accessible. So yeah, beautiful beaches as well.
Yeah, so seriously, like swimming over there is really awesome. Just be aware of where the reefs are, so you don't get taken away. But yeah,
which
it's
are
really,
all
really
indicated
awesome.
on tourist maps. So make sure you pick up a tourist map when you arrive.
Yes. Cool. Another great thing to do in Rarotonga is to do a road trip around the whole island.
Yeah.
It's just literally just doing that. You can hire scooters or cars. They come, quite cheap. And so, you just drive around and you stop wherever you fancy takes you. There's many different things that you can be doing. You can stop at little fruit stalls to get pre-cut fruit from a local or something like that. It's really kind of fun. You can stop at a lot of different secluded beaches, which is always nice. You can go get yourself cocktails in like resorts and everything. Maybe if you're driving around, do mocktails. There is a lot of different stuff to do along the way. There are also museums, and other historical point of interest as well. We obviously do have a lot of it. We actually have on Cook Islands pocketguide.com a self-guided itinerary to go all around Rarotonga in one day. It's actually pretty cool. So for that, you go on trip IDs and then day trips, and boom, you are all sorted.
Yeah, another thing I'd like to add for Rarotonga is that it is, although it is like a Polynesian destination in the South Pacific, it's actually quite cosmopolitan as well, i.e. there's a lot of places for food, there's shopping experiences, that sort of thing. So you're always close to sort of those comforts coming from cities, that sort of thing. And I would almost, this might be controversial to say, but I enjoyed the food experiences in Rarotonga more than in New Zealand. So if you're looking for like high quality food, high quality ingredients.
I agree.
Locals that have passion for the food that they're making and having really sort of eclectic menus, then Rarotonga is quite a good foodie destination.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so that covers you for like plenty of things to do in Rarotonga. If we just tease you enough to actually check out the Cook Islands during your trip to New Zealand, maybe check out cookislandspocketguide.com. It's on US website, and that'd be cool if you want to check it out.
Yeah.
We'd like it. I'm gonna put it in live chat. How does it work with words? There you go.
How does typing work?
Yeah,
so we're very, very excited to be launching our latest pocket guide post-COVID. So you guys, if you're looking for a way to extend your trip in New Zealand, visit somewhere that's very close to New Zealand. Like Robin says, even the currency is the same as in New Zealand when you go
it's
to the
super
Cook
easy,
Islands. So it is, and it's very, one of the sort of easiest transitions from going to New Zealand to a tropical country that there is. So check it out at cookislandspocketguide.com.
All right, question of the day. Question of the day. Question of the day. That's right. I'll keep singing. All right, so I'll give you an extra 5 minutes to answer the question, people. So with the ever-increasing price of gas, does it affect your travel plans to New Zealand? And if yes, how? Make it known in the comment section of the video, please. I'd love to know that. But is it affecting your travel plans? Is it changing your travel plans to New Zealand? I'd love to know. That. So far, we have had 23 votes, so quite a few people have voted yes as well. Mostly no's so far. So make sure you
make sure
you vote. Make sure you vote in the next 5 minutes. Sorry, I get completely confused.
You were probably distracted by the fact that our latest comment coming through on the live chat is Chris Clare saying, loving the singing.
Oh, thank you, Chris and Claire. I hope you enjoyed it.
I'm glad somebody enjoyed it, because I did notice that we did lose a viewer when you started singing.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what I was afraid of.
We're not going ever to do a song contest on Patreon, mate. Just saying. No, we're not going to do that. But cool. By the way, for all the patrons which are watching right now, like David, I know David's there, Chris and Claire is there. Laura is going to be hanging out with me for another hour as well. So that's going to be fun. That's
another way to celebrate the launch of Cook Islands Pocket Guide. Means I've got a little bit more time to hang out with
if
the
I remember,
Patreons.
if you guys saw on the Patreon Facebook group, Joey is also considering going to the Cook Island actually during his trip to New Zealand. So that's pretty cool. It's such an awesome place. But Chris and Claire from Australia, I think they know what a beach look like. Although it looks really different. I lived in Australia. It looks very different in the in the South Pacific Island. So I think because it's less crowded and things like that, I think I prefer. I know it's controversial for Australians, but I think I prefer the beaches usually more in the South Pacific than in Australia.
Yeah.
Hey, Clay made it there.
Made it.
What happened?
Welcome, Clay. And you know who else we are missing today?
Anthony Comstock.
Anthony Comstock hasn't been here to give us his signature phrase.
Yeah.
And that is, that's a shame.
Because you don't have it on the t-shirt yet. Yeah. And that's upsetting to people.
We do notice that when our regulars aren't here to say their signature phrases, then they are dearly missed, just so you know.
Chris and Claire actually are saying it depends where you are in Australia. So I guess you may might be able to find secluded beaches somewhere in Australia. My experience was more, Sydney, Melbourne, Cairns.
all
those
the hot spots.
Exactly, all these kind of things. And it's always like, is there how many tens of thousands of people on that beach right here? So yeah, it's been very much like just big lines of people everywhere, and even I always try to think, like when I see surfers and everything, there's so many surfboards in the water. It's like, how long are you hanging out over there in the water until you actually genuinely get yourself a wave? I just feel like it's
the thing also that stands out for me with the South Pacific Islands compared to maybe similar like holiday destinations coming from Europe. When you are in Europe, you go to these like tropical destinations and they're usually packed with people. In the South Pacific, we've got a much lower population in general around this area. So, oh my God, like when you
get a whole place to yourself.
End up
it's so amazing.
On beaches completely to yourself. And that is like, it's just like, it's getting rarer and rarer to have those experiences nowadays. But yeah, I think like the South Pacific is kind of like that last place of paradise. It's so cool.
What's Kiwi Lauren saying?
Kiwi Lauren says, stay safe, but I'm here until the end on behalf of Anthony. Thank you, Kiwi Lauren.
I love that.
And then saying Team... I can never pronounce Saskatchewan.
Team Saskatchewan stepping into cover in this line this week. That's good. I like it. Clay says, late night last night. Yeah, we feel you, mate. Went to the rugby. Oh, yeah, so that was the All Blacks versus Ireland. Do I dare asking who won? Is it?
You should already know, Robert.
Okay, yeah, obviously. It says, went to the rugby. There may have been a few overpriced tins consumed.
Yeah, probably.
Chris Sinclair, yes, something. It's shoulder to shoulder. Yes, sometimes in some beaches in Australia. Yeah, who won? I don't even know. Let me just Google that.
Yeah.
You can read what Robert says while I try to figure out who won the game. Do I just Google who won the game?
All right. Robert says, if you had to guess, how much of the country would you say that you've seen, you're going to be able to take it back? You're going to be able to take it back on the road again. Must have an itch to discover new things and places. After a while, you run out of things to talk about with the same person. Why do I get the feeling that doesn't apply to you two? Yeah, well, okay. In terms of like percentage of the amount of the country that we've seen, we've actually talked about this a few times since we did, for instance, New Zealand's biggest gap year, where we did 365 days of 365 activities. We saw definitely all the main hotspots of New Zealand. We even saw a lot of the places that barely anyone gets to travel to. But Robin and I have always said, if we were to do that trip again where we did 365 days, 365 activities, there would be no issue in picking different activities all around the country. Yeah. Admittedly, we'd probably go to some of the same places.
I mean, I'd still do the sea swimming in Kaikoura, as I usually kind of rank it as one of my favorite activities to New Zealand. By the way, this video is coming back again this week, so that's quite cool. But yeah, I will still do some of the activities, but we can go all around New Zealand again and do 365 different things yet again for sure. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to get a tattoo again.
No.
I can't get a second tattoo, I mean, honestly.
Maybe you can get the North Island this time and I get the South Island, and then we have a complete...
No. All right.
So, yeah, basically, we have travel, like, if we were to do that trip again, we'd probably overlap and get to places that we've already been to, that's for sure. There are a few places that we haven't been to that are definitely on our radar.
Yeah, we have been to the Chatham Islands.
Yeah.
I want to go there.
Yeah, so there's a couple of places, like really small places that I'd like to visit, Robin would like to visit, but in terms of things to do around New Zealand, there is that much, and there's still like plenty we can do. So yeah, we're still passionate, we can still talk about things to do in New Zealand and always feel like we have more and different things to talk about.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I did look up the result for the rugby last night. So the All Blacks, which is a New Zealand team, scored 12 points at the game against the Irish. That said, the Irish scored 23, so kind of sucks to be a supporter of the All Blacks, I guess. Moving on.
Wow, that was Robin's take, the analysis of the game. Wow, Robin.
You guys are very welcome. I'm obviously very well versed in talking about sports.
Yes, luckily we talk about New Zealand travel on this channel.
Exactly.
And not about New Zealand sports.
Yes.
Okay, Clay says, don't Google.
I did.
Naresh says, Kia ora, guys. I am planning to visit New Zealand in October. Would you recommend going through visa advisories, for example, VFS Global, or do it myself online? FYI, this would be my first international travel.
In my opinion, it's always better to do yourself. The visa advisory stuff are usually quite expensive, and yeah, you're better off doing it yourself, so you have control of all your applications and all that. So I think you should do it on your own. It's not necessarily that hard, especially if you're just doing a visitor visa. It is the simplest kind of visa to get. Yeah, be in charge of your own fate rather than a bunch of people that just literally charging you a couple of fees and try to do as little work as possible, because that's basically what it is. They just fill up paperwork, easy paperwork for you.
Yeah, you'll find that the official Immigration New Zealand website is quite extensive. It tells you everything that you need to know for each type of visa, especially if you're coming to New Zealand to visit. It will be very easy to find information on their website for visiting and how to get a visitor visa if you need it. So make sure that you head to the official website for Immigration New Zealand, which is immigration.govt.nz.
There is a link to Immigration New Zealand in the description of this video. All right, as I'm going to be closing the question of the day, Laura is going to read the next comment.
Yes, so we have Mohammed Joshua saying, I wanted to ask this question. I have a visa since last year, September, and I wanted to travel, but COVID hit, so I don't know if it is possible for me to use it now. So your visa, depending on what visa it is, there will probably be an expiry date on it. So make sure that you do have, you look at all the conditions of your visa. It should be available to you. If it was an electronic visa, it should have been emailed to you. Yeah, one of the easiest conditions to find on your specific type of visa that's been given to you is the expiry date. And then if there's any other travel conditions, it will be outlined on that visa. So yeah, make sure that you read those up, have access to them as well.
Again, we're not registered immigration advisor, so it is illegal for us to give you immigration advice in New Zealand. You should only get immigration advice from a registered New Zealand immigration advisor. And for this reason, we are not able to expand onto your specific visa questions.
Yes.
I apologize for that. Head to immigration.govt.nz in order to get more information about that. All right, Clay is laughing at my take on the rugby, I'm guessing. Yeah, well, do you think that they should charge more when the team loses, like, for alcohol, like, at the stadium, right? Is it kind of like, damn, they're losing, let's just crank all the prices by $2, or they're winning, let's just reduce the price, like,
or like kick the supporters while they're down, or take in the money while the supporters.
I don't know what the price structure should be like. The price should fluctuate depending on the scoring of the home team or not. Chris and Claire says, damn ads.
Damn ads. Nobody likes those ads. YouTube's full of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this is referring to.
I think that means like advertisements.
Yeah.
Adil says, for the benefit of all new viewers/subscribers, please tell us about the travel websites that you both own and manage.
Right, let me just load that up, then that's going to be easier to do it like this. Here you go. That is a good question. Thank you very much, Adil. Let's go nuts. Up, 6. Boom. Here you go, nzpocketguide.com, New Zealand's largest travel guide. It's all 100% free for you to check. TongaPocketGuide.com if you're planning a trip to the beautiful island country of Tonga and learn about its rich culture. TongaPocketGuide.com, it's free as well to use. FijiPocketGuide.com, it is going to take a while to load, so I'm just going to do those one. Nice. So FijiPocketGuide.com, largest travel guide to Fiji. It's a very hot destination at the moment, so go nuts on that. It's all at the ready for you. NuePocketGuide.com, for some reason it looks different on my screen today. Can I just do that? Yeah. Here you go, NuePocketGuide.com right here. It's a very small island nation in association with New Zealand, so sending New Zealand dollars and everything like that over there. It's kind of cool, and there is only about 1,600 people on the island, so it's a very, very small nation. So yeah, here you go. And they all have metal reusable straws in all restaurant, resort and bars over there because we supplied it for them. So here you go. You won't kill any turtle with plastic straws over there. So what about that? And then the newest one, cookislandspocketguide.com, which is the latest one that we launched. Thank you very much for the question, Adil. I love it.
Yeah. We have Anessa saying, hi.
Is it just vaccinated travelers that can travel to New Zealand? Still, if you are not a New Zealand citizen or permanent resident, you do need to be vaccinated to come to New Zealand, but those conditions are ever evolving and changing, so check covid.govt.nz for your latest requirement, and also finding some more information about vaccinations and how safe it is. Violet Zulu from South Africa says, hey guys, I'm late today. How much did I miss today? Well, you missed about 56 minutes of live session so far. Anthony Comstock is here.
Anthony Comstock. Oh, we were just talking about you before,
Yeah,
Anthony, saying that
we
were missing your signature phrase, but here you are, never letting us down, saying, Morena, sorry I'm late towards the end, but I am here and stay safe and I'm here till the end.
Anthony, you can thank Kiwi Lauren. She actually pitched in and said your signature phrases because you were not here. So she just wanted to make sure that it wasn't left unsaid. And yeah, she did pitch in right here. So you had an assistant in Kiwi Lauren today.
Chris Clare says, keep seeing man shake over and over. What does that mean? What does that mean? Keep seeing man shake over and over and over.
Chris and Claire, you are confusing me a lot with your latest comments. don't know what is happening.
Yeah, maybe it's and then Chris Clare says, is it all ages that need vaccine? Oh, so that's what they're probably referring to, the vaccinations. A magic. Yeah. Okay.
IP Guam says these ads just pop up whenever they want during the live stream. Yes, so YouTube starts monetizing live streams, so ads are going to pop up throughout. Our live session for Patreon exclusive have no ads on it, but the live session which are public have ads in there. So yes, you are going to see some ads throughout, just because, well, even just all this setup and everything does cost a lot of money. So yeah, but I mean, last week our live session made us 86 cents, so I have to be honest, it's really not a lot. All right.
Kiwi Lawrence says, oh, there we go. Anthony showed up and delivered his famous closing line.
Nice.
Yes, we are also glad about that. And then
Don't worry about those misspelling, mate.
Yeah,
that is not a problem.
And Nasa says, thanks. And yeah, Chris Clare was talking about the vaccinations. Is it all ages that need vaccinations?
No, there is, like, if you're really, really young, it's not. But COVID-19.govt.nz, let's just quickly check. Vaccinations, requirement to travel. Check if you can. Vaccination requirements. 17 and over, and not New Zealand citizen residents or Australian citizen who live in New Zealand, you must meet the vaccination requirements. 16 and under do not need to be vaccinated. So here you go. That is the exact requirement. So you are in Australia, but you don't permanently live in New Zealand, so you still apply for this one. So you need to be vaccinated, Chris and Claire, and if your kids, which I know are below 16, they don't need to be vaccinated. So here you go.
There you go.
Easy and sorted. All right, how is the COVID situation looking in New Zealand? We do have cases like every day. I think we had a few thousand yesterday, and we had 23 deaths. So it's just still ongoing. We do have COVID. I mean, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, it is still happening for sure. Nathan says, have a great day and see you next week from Christchurch on holiday.
Oh, nice.
That's going to be nice.
Happening.
Yeah. Make sure you send us like a photo at the airport or something like that. And again, if your flight is delayed, it's okay. Just send us a bit of a video. Tell us what you're looking forward to your trip or something. And if your flight back is delayed, give us your complete guide to the South Island by Nathan. That'd be fun.
Yeah. And we can't wait to actually see what you end up doing in Christchurch.
Yes.
I know that you've asked several times what to do in Christchurch, and I can't wait to see what you have picked to do. So yeah, let us know after you've done it all.
All right, question of the day, the recap. Question of the day, the results. Question of the day, you've been waiting for it. Yeah. Cool. So the question of the day is the increasingly high price of gas for road trip and for flight changing your travel plans? No, 74% of you have said I'm undeterred
Whoa.
and my plan and my trip to New Zealand is going to remain the exact same. So it's all good. 25% of you said yes, and a couple of people that told us how that will change. There was David, for example, David Burrow, that told us that he redeemed all his miles to get some cheaper price for his flight to New Zealand. So that was a good way to use his miles. Joey is joining up on the live chat right now saying, what's up? Right in time for the Patreon live session. And yeah, we can talk about your trip to the Cook Island during the Patreon live session. That'd be fun. Todd says, please everyone like the video and help the YouTube algorithm. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Todd.
The robots are in control of our lives.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So guys, we're done for this week. We are going to be doing the exact same thing next week at the exact same time. So mark your calendars. And yeah, we'll be back there. And yeah, we are about to do an hour with our Patreon. So if you feel like joining us on Patreon, there is a link in the description below. Again, if you join us right now, you get 23 days and then you only be charged at the first of the month and you can cancel at any time. So that's pretty good. And it only starts at about $5 a month. So it's dead as cheap and you get a lot of perks, including our help. Like actually, the individual help, we write some notes on your itinerary to help you plan an epic trip to New Zealand or anywhere in the South Pacific that we actually have knowledge of. So here you go. Anaisa say almost at 30k. Yes, we actually we have a game right now with a Patreon where they're trying to guess when we are going to be reaching 30,000 subscribers. Will you do another giveaway live? Yeah, we may actually. I need to figure something out. I may have one prize or something like that. That could be fun. But yeah, I need to come up with maybe a game or something like that. So we will see. We are still quite a few weeks away, I think.
Watch this space.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we'll do.
Make
for
sure you
30K.
subscribe.
Yes, here you go. All right, guys. In the meantime, you guys have a lovely day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you next week at the same time.
Ideal say thank you, Robin and Laura, for another highly informative travel shows.
You're very welcome,
Everybody's like
Adil.
so nice. Is it the internet here? It's supposed to be like rotten with everybody hating each other and commenting and fighting and all that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We'll leave that
Everybody's
for the
nice.
Patreon session. I'm joking.
Yeah, let's all fight. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.